Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope everyone's had a safe Saturday wherever you are. Happy St. Patrick's again. Wanted to do a live update this morning. I do apologize, feeling a little bit under the weather, and I just didn't feel like it was a suitable report. So Mari and I wanted to come back on and give you guys the latest, and there's not a whole lot going on, but still enough to talk about. We'll go ahead and take a look at SPACEWEATHER.com real fast, and we'll go ahead and we'll do that. Yeah. So the mouse is disappearing. There we go. Here we go. All right. SPACEWEATHER.com shows that we have wind speeds at 526.1 kilometers per second with a density of 5.7, 0 sunspots. Pardon me. Now, here's the funny part. Well, it's not here anymore. There is no funny part. All right. There was, though, a... oh, here it is. Auroras do not need sunspots. I don't know how many times I go to SPACEWEATHER.com and I'll see these gorgeous pictures of Aurora Boreal, and people are saying, well, it's weird because we're in a minimum and the sun's not putting any sunspots out, and you know, so it's kind of weird these are showing up. I've always believed that these solar wind streams create these auroras. Whenever we get highly charged particles flowing into our atmosphere from a solar wind stream, I always thought that that's how these got here. I was not under the understanding that sunspots create these auroras, but again, they're finally stating it here on SPACEWEATHER.com. You don't need sunspots for auroras, and like I said, I've seen several articles where they talk about no sunspots, but we're still seeing auroras. KP indices, we are just under storm levels right now. We are sitting at a 4 with a 24-hour max at 4. Again, I did say something earlier today about that what was Earth-facing coronal hole might be a little bit more intense because it was a little wider at the end. But pay close attention right at the corner of this. See that little sunspot? A little flurry of action, how it just explodes as it's turning away from Earth. So it's not being officially named a sunspot. However, there's a lot of action going on, and I wouldn't be surprised if at the last minute they try to name this AR2701. As far as sunspots, we haven't had a named sunspot now in 13 days, I believe. So taking a look at our TSI report for March 9th, 2016. We came in a little bit lower. I'm sorry, we came in just a nudge higher than what we were this morning. We're down to 1361.119. This morning I read off a reading of, let's see here, 1361.109, and we went back up to 119. So again, very minor increase in TSI. It's still hovering around that low reading of 1361, 1 point. So keep an eye on that as always. Wanted to bring up a few articles today. Mari and I put a couple videos out, but this first one here, this one is one we just kind of caught at the last minute in Ghana, Africa, and I don't want to pronounce the city. I might butcher it really bad. So this is in the Ghana region. Torrential rains happen there at least it looks like at least every year since 2014 they've had a major torrential downpour and windstorm. But this one right here, this really, when you look at these pictures and this article, this puts everything into focus here, folks, where we live, what part of the world we're in. And these guys out here, 152 houses were destroyed, 2,000 people are displaced right now, and it's been 36 hours since the storm. So there's pregnant women, babies, children. The majority of their buildings out there don't have roofs on them, so they're pretty much hanging out there with nothing to protect them right now. And the thing that kind of really got to me the most about this article is that there's people in here, you know, please, someone help us. You know, we need support out here. No one's supporting us. I mean, you could tell by looking at these buildings here. You know, it's not like they have special air conditioning in these buildings, so it's not like they're not used to the climate or anything like that, but they don't have any shelter right now. If the churches and schools are destroyed like they are in this picture here, there's nowhere for anyone to go for emergency shelter. So, and here we go, August 15th, March 16th, February 2017, and again this year, they've had a storm like this where they were in need of food, shelter, and clothing. So this looks like a once-a-year thing for them, but the thing that I find interesting is that they only start including record of this in August of 2015. And I wonder too, I'd like to study the severity of this event that happens in this region every year. If it's getting worse, is it staying the same? You know, those kinds of questions. Shifting over now to the UK, here we go, the Beast from the East, Part 2. I'm sorry, the Siberian Express, Part 2. They've got snow warnings issued all over the UK by the Met Office. They're forecasted up to 10 inches in some areas, with warnings of significant travel disruptions to Britons all over this weekend. So, and again, more amber alerts for the UK, more snow. Winter is hanging on for them out there, guys. I wanted to show you some stats real quick. Yeah, they're calling for about 10 inches of snow to fall over Dartmoor, Exmoor on Sunday. And it does look like areas could see a little bit more, but here are all the warnings for the region. Amber snow warning, several of them. The amber ones, the brighter orange colored ones, are a little bit more severe than your usual snow warnings here. So we'll quickly go through these real fast. That's why anyone watching from this area, this is just a heads up for you guys. And, you know, here we are. It's March 17th, guys, and we're still facing some serious winter weather out here. And I'll show more when we go to tropical tidbits here. You know, the top temperatures will be falling through the day. By the afternoon, the wind will really give a significant wind chill for them. So brace yourselves. Hopefully after this week, we really start to see a warm-up, because spring is technically here in less than 4 days. So interesting there. And then another cold weather story that I wanted to mention as well. This one coming out of the Netherlands. Coldest March 17th in the Netherlands since records have begun. Lower maximum temperatures were measured in provinces of Flevoland, Gelderland, and wow, what's this word right here? Overijssel. Sorry to the folks out there in the Netherlands. I'm not well versed on language.
It's always safe.
It's a soft J.
The J is silent.
Yogging. But they're talking about temperatures was at negative 0.7 Celsius due to the strong northeast wind. The wind chill factor was around negative 5 Celsius to negative 10 Celsius. So these are people who are used to seeing temperatures in the 40s and 50s right now, and they're dealing with sub-zero wind chills. Again, just another, here we go. This record was broke. Negative 4.6 Celsius was measured on Friday, February 28th, and it broke a record from 1904. And it slaughtered this record, actually. The record was minus 1.6 degrees Celsius, and they finished a full 3 degrees below that record. So they smashed a record there on the 28th. And I had somebody, and here's an interesting statement here at the bottom of this article. The weather has been cold and at times wet in the country so far this year. As records continue to be broken, these may be signs of an upcoming ice age. Forget about grand solar minimum. These guys are talking about a straight up ice age, because they know, they have the data, they look at this stuff, they keep up with this. You know, it's not that hard. Everything is matching up. The video I did last night on Paul Beckwith and him claiming that people in the grand solar minimum community are fraudulent for promoting cold weather and possibly an ice age to come after the grand solar minimum. And I find it very alarming that he talks about how fraudulent that people in the GSM community are being when he's begging for money at the very beginning of his videos. He begs for money on his website. Everything's about money. And people in the GSM community are crazy. But it's the point that I'm making. If you just look at the data, he says people are worried about heavy downpours and torrential rains and flooding and high winds and snow records. Of course they're worried, because it's happening everywhere. And we'll go ahead and take a look at tropical tidbits while we're talking about weather. Some improvements on the forecast. I say improvements. The South, they're dealing with tornado warnings right now, so that's not much of an improvement. But they are dealing with a few rain systems that's going to move throughout the weekend. By Monday, they've got a big mess developing once again in the southeast and central part of the country. They are worried about also a hail threat tonight, overnight into tomorrow. So we're going to have to keep an eye on these storms down here in the south over the next few days. Other than that, this major weather system is it. We've got some snow in the Dakotas and Nebraska, but other than that, just rain in the south. Typical spring-like pattern here. So we move forward on to Tuesday, and this is where we thought we were going to have a nor'easter, and this is a sign right here. That first storm goes off into the Atlantic. Here's the second one. Now, this is where we thought the nor'easter would have a chance to develop. And, you know, these forecasts are going back and forth. Now, this model now shows that this nor'easter potential is going to be a little bit closer to shore, but still flows out to sea after about a couple days. So by Thursday, this thing's already past New England and does not make any kind of landfall. However, the new threat is going to be in the northwest region in California. They're due to get some rain and snow here the next several days, and hopefully so they get as much as possible. California's in a drought right now, and their rainy season's about to end. So from April on, they get a little bit drier as the months progress into the summertime. So this moisture back here, I know I was kind of freaking out about it last week, but this is something that's well needed in this region that's in a severe drought right now, because honestly, after these next 2 weeks, you know, who knows what the weather's going to bring over there in the west side of the country. And I wanted to show you also by next weekend, this system, I've been watching this for a week now, and the models have been back and forth. This thing fell apart 2 days ago. Now all of a sudden GFS is suggesting that we might have one more storm to deal with for the Northeast before April gets here. And it's going to be next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. This thing looks to be a long-lasting event, starting as early Saturday morning. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, Kentucky, you guys will start seeing moisture from this as early as Friday. But as we move into the weekend, like I said, maybe one more last hoorah as far as snowstorms goes. This one looks like it's got some moderate to heavy snow involved in it. So definitely something to watch out for here by the end of the month. But the temperatures, honestly, are going to be just below freezing for it to snow. I know other temperature readings have been coming back in the 40s, but just for Thursday and Friday, we're going to dip down to 28 and 30 degrees here in Buffalo. So it will be cold enough in the Northeast to see this snow. By the 25th, this system finally makes an exit onto the Atlantic Ocean, does not turn into a nor'easter, although it does look like one, but it will not drive up the coast like the storms have passed. And no sooner is that weekend storm gone, here we go on Monday with another big low pressure system developing in the middle of our country with snow on the northern backside of the storm. And as we move this out forward, the models seem to suggest that this will be an all-rain event for the Northeast. Earlier today, I looked at this, and there was a hint that it would be cold enough for a brief period of time for some minor snow showers. But as we go through the rest of March, folks, if you live in the Northeast and the East, it looks like after the 25th, no more snow, all rain, and lots of it. And, of course, it's spring, so we're going to see that. But look again, April 2nd, the Northwest is still getting plenty of moisture, so that's good news too. But like I said, they need it. They're in a drought. So other than these next two storm systems that we have to tend with, this one that's going through right now, which is not really doing much, and then next weekend we have a snow system. Now, on Tuesday and Wednesday was where we thought we were going to have this nor'easter here in the Northeast. It looks like now we're just going to be dealing with some rain showers and maybe some light snow in the southern Pennsylvania area, but that's it. This is all going to be a rain event. So things are starting to wind down, hopefully, for the snow for the year, except if you live in the mountains in the Northwest, get ready, because you're getting your share of the precipitation now. Starting on the 22nd, heavy amounts of precipitation in the Northwest, all the way through the 24th, 25th. You get a little bit of a lull on the 27th, and then once again, you get inundated by the April 2nd with more moisture. So that pattern will be a welcome pattern, I do believe, as far as folks out there in the West trying to get some moisture that are in these severe drought areas. East Coast, Midwest, we're fine. We've got enough rain probably to last us for the rest of the season. But other than that, I don't see any kind of major storm systems coming through that's going to cause any major problems other than your typical your flash floods and all that from all the rain that we're going to be getting in the south. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at Europe real fast before we get out of here. See how things are shaping out for you guys precipitation wise right now. What's going on, Murray?
I'm just laughing at people in the chat, Jake, because sorry. I'm just telling them about how you hate mushrooms.
All right, so looking over here across the pond, jeez, I don't know what that has to do with anything. I'm gonna get rid of. Listen, you're gonna get me in trouble with the Grand Solar community because these people like mushrooms and they are gonna eat them when we have no food. And I guess I'm gonna starve to death because I hate mushrooms.
Well, maybe if your life depends on it,
no,
you will decide to eat mushrooms.
Probably not. Probably not. So, like I said earlier, we are gonna see some winter weather in Europe, and so far the GFS does resemble that as well. Lots of colder air, snow in the Alps, France, and just these low pressure systems kind of make their way out to the west as we go through next week. Again, more snow and rain to the region, and I think temperatures finally start to regulate by the end of next week, by Saturday. But look at this. I mean, we're still dealing with bouts of rain. This is typical for this part of the world, though, this time of year. So, but I don't think anyone's going to get spared right now as far as precipitation goes when it comes to rain. It looks like everybody's going to get a fair, decent amount of moisture at some point during the next 15 days over there across the pond. So let's look at temperatures before I leave this area. And you know, it's funny, I get a lot of grief about showing temperatures in Fahrenheit, but I gotta be honest with you folks, I think, you know, just growing up in America where it's always Fahrenheit gives you a better understanding. See, -0 or -1 in Celsius is not -0 in Fahrenheit. So it does help me grasp how cold it really is when we're looking in Fahrenheit. But anywho, temperatures. All right, so we start this week. And as you see, we got mild temperatures until we get to the weekend. That's when that cold Arctic air starts to make its push. Sunday makes its push farther. Spring is still fighting this Arctic push. I think, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that this was a late March, I think the UK and Europe, those areas, Germany, all you guys out there, I think you probably would have seen a little bit stronger cold blast had it been in a little bit earlier in March. But since we're so close to the spring equinox and the angle that the sun is hitting the earth right now, I think that's what's saving us from going through a really bad cold snap overseas and here in the United States. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Mari, did you have anything else besides my non-love for mushrooms?
I love this community, and I love chatting with you guys in the chat, and I just hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will be back when, Jake?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We'll do it again tomorrow.
We'll do it all over again tomorrow. All right, guys, be safe out there. Please like and share. And one more thing, too, before we head out. We're starting to get a lot of complaints about people not getting notifications. So if you're watching this right now and you are subscribed, make sure you hit that notification bell, because we have noticed too that it doesn't seem like we're reaching the people that we once reached just less than 6 days ago. So make sure. We've got a lot of complaints, people saying they're being unsubscribed from the channel or their notifications are not coming through, so they unsubscribe and then resubscribe and hit the bell again. That seems to fix everything. Other than that, just, you know, anytime, email us at jake@thegrandsolarminimum.com if you have any issues with the site, the website, or the YouTube channel, and we'll get to that as soon as possible and get it fixed for you guys. All right, take care and have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.